救主被卖的那一夜，拿起饼来祝谢了，掰开，分你们主说：“你们拿这个吃，这是我的身体，为你们设的，你们要这样行，以纪念我。”
My name is Ernest. I'm a guitarist and songwriter. My wife and I were invited to play a concert in Christchurch, Likas in Sabah. That evening, after we played our concert, we saw in the audience a nun. So we asked our host, "Hey, why do you have a Catholic nun in your church? Because this is an Anglican church." And our host told us, she's not a Catholic nun, she's an Anglican nun, probably the last one in Malaysia. That intrigued us and we got very interested in her and why she was the last nun in Malaysia and wanted to know more about her story. Sister Margaret is part of a group called the Community of Good Shepherd. It is an order of nuns, and her current job right now is to oversee the making of the communion wafers, otherwise known as the host wafers. Every Tuesday and Wednesday, she leads a team of about 10 aunties to make these wafers at the kitchen next to her residence. They start at 5 a.m. and end by mid-morning. The community of the Good Shepherd did not always make wafers. In fact, until 10 years ago, they were purchasing wafers from overseas. One day, a priest from Penang gave them a communion wafer making machine, it's like one of these presses. But they didn't have the recipe. The only people in Kota Kinabalu who had the recipe were Catholic nuns. Just so happened the Anglicans had the last nun in town, I think. Sister Margaret could enter into their premises and learn how to make communion wafers and the recipe.
Well, it's just mixing the flour with the right amount of water and then bake it. We have a cutting machine given us, using the one piece at a time. Slowly we make them. Normal routine, morning you say the morning prayer and then keeping silence and there are rules. Meditation, studying the scriptures and listening to God's voice.
Why did you choose to become a nun?
I felt I need to have a quiet life and time to be with God. Obedience, chastity and poverty. My name is Sister Margaret. I'm 87 now this year.
I'm so glad that Sister Margaret expresses that feature of the Christian faith with the Holy Communion bread. To have the wafer as part of the physical product of the community of the Good Shepherd, I think it's a wonderful thing. I first met Sister Margaret when I was posted to Sandakan as a curate, right? When I started my ministry. My first round, I was a bachelor. It was a great time. It was a time that I served as a curate under, at that time, I was Archdeacon Yong Pin Chung. Of course, now he's a retired bishop and archbishop. Great fun, young, full of energy, lots of young people. Years later, when I went back with a young family, and people were very, very warm. Sandakan is a good place to bring children up. And St. Michael's is a wonderful church to do that.
It is our pride and joy. Yeah. And I think St. Michael's is very special because the stone church is just like a church in England transported to this tropical area.
In about 1830s, there was a movement in England in the church called the Oxford Movement, and they had wanted to steer the church towards more holy living. As a result, they revived a lot of the ancient traditions of the church, including the monastic orders and liturgies. They wanted to also reach out to the poor, and they sent a lot of their missionaries out to our part of the world. The community of Good Shepherd landed in Sabah, and that's where the missionary nuns started to help the work of the church there.
The name of our community is the Community of the Good Shepherd. But the original one, from where I came out, is Community of Companions of Jesus the Good Shepherd, CJGS. So the sisters who came out from England were in that order.
The other historic and interesting thing about the St. Michael's Church is the link with the Second World War, and especially the Death March.
The Japanese soldiers used it as a base to camp 2,600 prisoners of war before they sent them on what was known as the Death March. And this event is quite infamous in World War II history because out of the 2,600 prisoners, only 6 of them survived.
"60 years later, families of these soldiers, they want to show their gratitude to the local people who have helped them. And the opportunity came to put up the stained glass windows, the 3 stained glass windows, the one just above the main door, the west door, the windows of remembrance was the first one. And then the windows of friendship on the left and right wing were the other 2. All those were donated by friends and family members of the soldiers who died in the Death March.
You can see inside the church there are some bullet holes that the machine gun happened to hit.
And after the war, my father transferred to KK. And here I started my English education. There was a girls' secondary school run by Miss Carlton. All my secondary education is only 3 or 4 years. And then I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship for teachers training in England. In those days, no one sort of share gospel to teach you to know Christ and accept Him as your Savior. It was through the influence of the sisters in Sandakan. There were Anglican sisters that I come to know them and then felt called.
Sister Margaret started her journey as a nun from Sandakan in Sabah. She was a native of Sandakan, grew up there, and was a teacher there. Very few locals became nuns. I think, to our knowledge, we only came across two. Sister Eugene and Sister Margaret were both teaching nuns. They were sent to England to train as teachers, and they brought back their education training and became principals and teachers of the schools that they led.
She was the first to become the sister, and then I joined her. She's been in St. Monica's for a long, long time.
Well, we stay in the same hill, Eldon Hill, and the sister quarter is just about 200 yards away.
We live together, and though she's sort of very domineering one, but I get along with her quite well.
I was living in a house just within walking distance. Within walking distance means 20 seconds to where she was. And at that time, there was the other sister, Sister Eugene. Every Tuesday, I would go to their place with a very sharp pencil, and Sister Eugene would teach me the liturgy of the Holy Communion. And that's how I started my Hakka.
This is the living room, and that's one of the rooms. I don't know whether she sleeps there, but the master room is here. The couple where our evangelists are staying here, and then there's another 2 rooms there. So she is here, and that's the kitchen where she works. That's the kitchen. All right, that's the dining table.
Yeah, we like to sort of live a quiet life. Yeah.
And so ever since I was a little girl, I don't think I can remember a time when there was no Sister Margaret.
So at that time, we call her Miss Yong. My impression of her is a very strict person. Very strict, very disciplined one.
Sister Margaret, of course, as a child, you are fearful because they are teachers, right? They're headmistress. But somehow, even though there is that respect, that fear, but you can feel, as a child, you can feel that she can be trusted.
And I think that she has a soft spot for all the naughty ones. And she'll see a lot beyond the surface. Sometimes when kids don't turn up for school for a while, instead of going around punishing them, or she would actually seek them out. She and a few teachers might go to their house to find out, what actually was going on.
She ran the school, St. Michael's School. She was very devoted.
But there's a nickname one of the priests named her. He call her Flying Nun. Because she drives very fast. She's very efficient. Very efficient.
I think she's joyful, purposeful, and meaningful. And I think she takes her vocation very seriously.
I think Sister Margaret and Sister Eugene really lived very full and very vibrant lives. They were, ordinary people, but it's that life of service and devotion to God.
Visiting Sandakan and visiting Sister Margaret's quarters is a bit like traveling back in time. You don't get a sense of the technology, of the newness of things. It's a very peaceful, very tranquil kind of existence. What stood out for me in the archive room is you find that This church is a church that has moved on with the times. St. Michael's was founded as a high church. In Anglican terms, they were founded by the segment of the church that was sympathetic to ancient practices and in particular Roman Catholic practices. But along the years, they have embraced contemporary developments, but they did not immediately throw away the emblems of the past. As they adapted to change, they didn't forget what was important.
After I stopped teaching in the primary school, government school, I looked after the kindergarten, our own kindergarten, until Sister Oijun fell ill, and her relatives wanted her to move to KK, so that it's easier for them to help to look after her. So because she moved, I had to move with her. She cannot be alone. So there is 2000, end of 2000, we moved over here.
There was no second thought for Sister Margaret to say, let's move. We are committed to the community. When someone is ill, let's all give what is best for that person. Great respect, great respect.
Born a slave to sinful nature, knowing laws I can't fulfill, was awaiting death and judgment for the sullen life of guilt. But the Father
Christchurch we just celebrated our 50th year, so things are new. But at the same time, because it is new, and new ideas, right? And the people are more flexible in adopting and weighing new ideas. Sister Margaret continues to challenge me about community life. What does it mean to create a community? I think it's tremendous to have someone like her. And for the younger people to always have to adapt to her, I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. Otherwise, the younger ones will think that the rest of the world is just young people, which is not. The rest of the church is just young people, which is not. Here is Sister Margaret here. Whatever you do, don't forget that she's here. And she's part of the family. I think all these are tremendous values for any congregation. And we are so thankful that Christ Church has her. Only one in the whole diocese, and she's here. And they're wonderful.
How do you feel about the change in the music of the church?
In the prayer and worship, is it?
Yes.
Well, I didn't mind the change actually. It's they have dancing and tambourine dances, and that's quite all right now.
Do you enjoy it?
Yeah.
The need has not changed, except that I think those who respond. That's why now Sister Margaret is a lone sister now in Sabah. I think the calling to become a sister is getting less and less, because a lot of ladies, girls, women, they can do those things without answering to the calling. Yeah? I don't need to take the vow in order to do what need to be done.
At the moment, it seems, I want to underline that it seems that she's the last surviving one. We do not know what's going to happen next.
I would say I totally have high respect that she probably will be the last nun in the history of Malaysia. I'm not so sure about elsewhere.
I feel very lost, very pity. But what to do? Cannot look for. We are all praying, but I don't know why God doesn't answer.
Yeah, I've never really thought about Sister Margaret as like the last person carrying on those traditions, but I think that it would be a shame for traditions to be lost.
I cannot predict, or I feel that there may be someone who may come up. That's why she's still seeking and looking for one that will replace her.
I just leave it to God.
So we've come to the end of the film, and I remember the first time we met Sister Margaret in 2019. We were all so fascinated and excited that here in Sabah was this last Anglican nun of Malaysia, and perhaps even the last Protestant nun in Southeast Asia. You see, the Christian monastic order dates back to the 5th century AD. So Sister Margaret embodies not simply a passing tradition. She is to us a visible connection to the ancient church. But on a deeper level, after talking to her and talking to the people who love and cherish her, we soon realized that she's more than a subject of fascination. Here is a person of inspiration to her former students, to her church community. And this is the lasting legacy she will leave behind to the lives she touched. And if I were to be pushed to sum up her story in a line or two, I'd say that her lifestyle of prayer, quiet service, and devotion to Jesus sets an example to all of us that God is honored and indeed honors the simple life lived well.
God be in my head and in my understanding. God be in my eyes and in my looking. God be in my mouth and in my speaking. God be in my heart and in my thinking. And God be at my end and at my departing. And that's the life of Sister Margaret. Her devotion to God, her vocation, and her service to the people that she served and cared for.